Hello and welcome. My name is Carsten Kümmel. I'm a live sound engineer for more than 20 years, and more or less I'm specialized on the a little bit more complex shows like film music, musicals, classical productions, operas, and most of them with really big orchestras and choir and soloists and band. And this I'm doing in the arenas all over the world. Besides that, I'm a professor for public address and live recording at the University of Applied Science in Darmstadt, close to Frankfurt. In today's video, I want to talk about using condenser microphones inside a bass drum. I really have to say that I hardly use dynamic microphones in that anymore, because why? Why do I prefer condenser microphones? Simply because they are faster and they are much more precise. But there's a rumor. The rumor says you will destroy a condenser mic inside a bass drum. That's not true, absolutely not. And I want to sort that out. It is true that inside the bass drum you can have a peak dB level at around 150 dB and more. And you're very close, or you're over the maximum sound pressure level of that specific microphone. But what does this maximum sound pressure level of a microphone here, like here the TLM 107, it has a maximum sound pressure level of 153 dB. What happens at that point? It's not the membrane which starts to distort. Absolutely not. It's impossible to play so loud that the membrane starts to distort. No, it's the electronic circuit. And therefore, you have the electronic pre-attenuation. In this one, 12 dB, which provides you with a maximum sound pressure level of 153 dB. The other one is the legendary U47. This can handle up, including pre-attenuation, very easy to remember, 147 dB as well. So a little bit less. This capsule is far more than 70 years old. Not bad, therefore, and it's a legend. So today I want to record a bass drum, and I want to do some more recordings than just putting the microphone inside and have a listen. Let's place both microphones first in front of the bass drum, like in a jazz kit. And then let's check out some different positionings of the bass drum, and always let's compare the TLM to the U47. Both very lovely mics. Let's put it in the hole and let's put it inside. But that should not be the end. As well, I want to show you how does the bass drum sound inside as soon as we have it on cardioid, on omnidirectional, and on a figure of 8. That will be quite interesting, I guess. So, I would say, let's start the work. We start with the TLM 107 cardioid characteristics outside in front of the bass drum. Let's go. And now the U47, same position. Could you hear the slight change in the kick frequencies? And but what do you say to the sound of that bass drum? As soon as you have a rock bass drum, you would never position a microphone like that. But sometimes you have to. Jazz, maybe. Not all kinds of jazz, but some. Traditional music. In these kinds of music, the bass drum is not played as a rock and roll bass drum, not constantly on the heavy beats. No, it's more or less played like a tom. And as soon as you record it that way, it fits better into the family of the tom. Let's switch back to the TLM 107 and let's place it directly in front of the hole. And let's have a listen what's happening there. And now, let's go to the U47. A clearly hearable change between these two microphones. And we are much more in the way where we want to have a rock and roll bass drum. Much more kick, good lows, and it gets much more punchy. The next position is TLM 107 cardioid inside the bass drum. Back to the U47. And again, a difference in the area of the high frequencies. More or less for me personally, it's hard to say which one I prefer more. Maybe it's depending on the drummer or on the drum set or on the music. But what I really love is how fast the impulse is of the signal. And this very good impulse response makes the signal of the bass drum standing so straight in the middle. It seems to stick out of the loudspeakers. And that's a good impulse response. So we recorded 2 microphones in 3 different positions. And now let's come to the goodie. How is the switchable microphone inside the bass drum switched to a polar pattern of non-directional? Let's check it out as a figure of 8. You see what a change characteristics are doing? In this case, figure of 8 does not work in my taste. There's another recording I want to show to you. This drum set here is played by Ivo Palitos from the band Geek from Portugal. And in the bass drum there was a Neumann U47. Snare Sennheiser MKH40. Toms TLMs 170 and one U89. Ride cymbal came 184 and so on and so on. Ambience, I think it was a U67. It's quite a while ago already, but you see the only work which is done, no EQ, no dynamics, nothing at all, only levels and panorama. And as well, what I have to tell you is I compensated the silence, I cut it out, the silence between the toms, and I did the delay compensation from the snare to the overhead. That's it. Let's have a listen. I hope that I was able to convince you to try out condenser microphones inside of bass drums. The benefit of the much faster impulse response and, for me personally, having the feeling that the sound steps out of the speakers and being much more stable is a benefit I don't want to miss in my work anymore. And about the rumor, destroying capsules inside of bass drums by sound pressure level, please forget that rumor. It is impossible to destroy microphones inside of bass drums. And if it would be like that, I wouldn't place such babies inside of a bass drum, but I'm doing. So I hope you enjoyed that video, and thank you very much for your interest, and I hope to see you on my other videos. Thank you, see you, and bye-bye.